Namaste. My name is Devdutt Pattanaik. You may have seen me on the television show Devlok, or you may have seen me on my YouTube videos. I write on mythology. Mythology is the study of stories, symbols, and rituals that communicate the truth of a culture. So all cultures around the world have some way they believe about life, about death, what happens after death, what is the purpose of life, and they communicate these ideas through stories, symbols, and rituals. In India, two big stories communicate our cultural truth, the truth that Indians have been told for thousands of years. So, in every generation, the story is told. It has been told for the past 2000 years, maybe more. We don't know how long. In every generation, you hear the story of Ram and Lakshman and Sita. You hear the story of Arjun and Bhim and Yudhishthir and Nakul and Sahadev, the stories of Sita and Draupadi. And over 2000 years, that would be how many generations? In 100 years, there are four generations. So in 2000 years, it would be 4 into 20, 80 generations. So 80 generations of people. What is 80 generations? It means your father is one generation, your father's father is the second generation, his mother is the third generation, her mother is the fourth generation. So if you go 80 generations of your ancestors, they have been telling the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So people will tell you to read the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they'll hope that you will tell the next generation the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata. But why should you read the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata? Should you read it only because your parents know the story and everybody knows the story and everybody talks about it? Or is there something that you can learn from the Ramayana and Mahabharata? And I keep asking this question because I love reading the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and I share Ramayana and Mahabharata with lots and lots of people, with adults, with children, with boys, with girls. I tell them the story again and again because I believe there is a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn in the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Both the stories, Ramayana and Mahabharata, deal with royal families. What does it mean, royal families? And then that stories are always about the forest. Ram goes to the forest. Pandavas go to the forest. The forest is always repeated. What is special about the forest? In the forest, they encounter rakshasas and asuras and strange animals, monkeys and bears and cranes and herons and vultures and squirrels and deer and wild boar. They deal with all kinds of plants, some that can heal, some that can harm. They come upon water bodies which are poisonous. They encounter rishis who are wise and who have ideas. So that is what Ramayana, both in Ramayana and Mahabharata, you have the same thing. You have problems in the palace, jealous cousins, jealous mothers. There is a lot of politics going on. People are fighting in the palace and they are forced to leave the palace and they go into the jungle. And in the jungle, they meet nice people and nasty people. They have animals who help them. There is a lot of tension. Then they come back from the forest with lots of knowledge. This is there in Ramayana, this is there in Mahabharata. What are they trying to tell us is something that I'm very interested in. I think they're trying to tell us something very simple. They're telling us that in the forest, nobody takes care of you. Animals are supposed to take care of themselves. Look at every tree around you. The tree does not ask you for food. The tree makes its own food. It has leaves, it has roots, it makes its own food. It is independent. It doesn't say, Mummy make food, Papa make food. It makes food on its own. All animals find their own food. The deer looks for grass. The animals go for pastures. They go hunting. They're finding their own food. And therefore, you realize that all the gods, all the animals in the jungle, all the plants are taking care of themselves. And I think that is the big lesson that we learn from the jungle. In our homes, we expect someone else to make our food, someone else to make our bed, to clean our house, to make us do homework. We don't do things by ourselves. And we go to the forest and we learn that everybody takes care of themselves. In fact, in the forest, nobody helps you. The trees don't come to your rescue, the animals don't come to your rescue. You have to take care of yourself. But in cities, at homes, when we live, we expect people to take care of us. When we fall sick, when we hurt ourselves, when we injure ourselves in the playground, when we cut our finger with a little blade, or when we're sharpening our pencils, we hurt ourselves and we expect mummy to take care of us, papa to take care of us, dada dadi to take care of us. That happens only inside the house, it doesn't happen in the forest. And I think these are the lessons that the Ramayana and Mahabharata teach you. So what I've done is I have told the story of Ramayana in two ways, and the Mahabharata very differently. So this is Ramayana for children, and really when you read this, it's a new way of telling the Ramayana, a new way of narrating the Ramayana, because here the focus is on Sita, the girl who chose. See, so it's not about Ram. It's not about Ravan. It's about the girl who chose, who makes five choices: one choice, two choice, three choice, four choice, five choice, and all the choices she makes decisions. It's very difficult to make a decision. Should I do? Shouldn't I do it? The right thing to do, wrong thing to do. What will happen if I take this decision? Should I take care of someone who's hungry? Should I? Everything, every decision that she takes, there is a good decision, there are bad decisions. Should I take the decision? And what happens when I take decisions? Will there be fights over it? Will the decision be good? Will it benefit me? Will it hurt me? So Sita makes decisions. She makes 5 decisions. So Ramayana teaches you about taking decisions. It teaches you, so I have told the story of how it teaches you what is consent, who is allowed to take decisions. You take decisions about your own body, you take decisions about your life. Nobody else is allowed to take decisions about your body. Nobody else has taken decisions about your life. It talks about rules, what happens when you break rules. Sometimes you have to break rules, sometimes you don't want to break rules, sometimes other people break rules. So all this is discussed in the Ramayana. It's fully illustrated. These are my illustrations. See this? In the forest, see Ram is here. There are images of that's Kai asking 2 boons. Then you have images of the sea covered with all kind of wild animals that prevent Ram from going to Lanka. Then this is the golden city of Lanka catching fire because of Hanuman's tail. This is Sita going through Agni Pariksha. Then, there is Love and Kush, and there is the royal horse. So pictures, full of pictures. You can color them if you want. Here there are 2 brothers who keep fighting. There's Kubera and there is Ravan. They are brothers. And Kuber builds Lanka, and Ravan throws him out of the house and says, I am the king of Lanka. So these are the things that you learn. Then there's the story of Urmila, who likes to sleep. She sleeps for 14 years so that Lakshman does not have to sleep for 14 years. This is a story which comes from folk Ramayana, So all these are the interesting things that you learn. You will learn about Tataka. This is the story of Tataka, and there is the story of Ahalya, who turns into stone. All kinds of stories. So I love illustrating them. You should draw them in your free time. And then there is Mahabharata, which is also a very big epic. But this is why should you read the Mahabharata? It is a new way of telling the Mahabharata, and it is about the boys who fought. See, the boys are fighting. These are the Pandavas and Kauravas who are fighting. And how many times do they fight? I was wondering, and I said, how many times do they fight in the Mahabharata? And then you realize they fight 6 times. 6 fights. The first fight is an orphan. Orphan are people who don't have parents. Then the second fight is refugees. Then they have no home, their home is burnt. The third fight is as kings, when they claim the forest and build their own city. The fourth fight is when they are exiles, when they're thrown out of the city and they have to live in the forest. The fifth fight when they become warriors and they demand justice. And the sixth fight is as hermits. It is a fight inside the heart. They have to understand what is the meaning of sharing. Will you share with people you don't like? Those are the questions. And these emojis on the side, can you see these emojis? These are the Kauravas. The 100 Kauravas are the 100 emojis. And this is Karna, says Karna, the charioteer's son. And then there is the story. This is the chopper game, Ludo, which was played, which leads to major problems. Then, these are the horses, so many horses which fight in the Mahabharata war. And every day of the war is discussed. What happened on the 14th night of the war? What happens on the 13th night of the war? 14th night. Every day there is something happening in the war. 16th night, what happens? Does it have something to do with Karna? And everybody has a different flag. See, this is the flag of Karna. This is Parshuram. So all this information. This is Bhishma, pinned with arrows. See? And the 5 Pandavas are crying, and this is the Bhishma Pitamaha. So you can read all this. See, this is Hastinapur being built, a beautiful city. Hastinapur is being built. So it's a very different way of reading the Mahabharata. So this is the Mahabharata, the boys who fought. It teaches you about bullies, how to handle bullies without hating them. You don't have to hate bullies, you just have to stop them. And that is what it is. A book about handling bullies and being humble. How you should be humble. When you're successful, you should be humble. Pandavas, when they become successful, lose control, they become proud, and they lose everything. And the Ramayana is about a book about consent and choosing responsibly. See, these are the 5 Pandavas. You can see them. How do you know which Pandavas? See, this is Yudhishthira. How do you know it? Because you have got the moon flag. And then when you over here, you see there is a monkey flag. So that's Arjun. And then there is a lion flag. That is Bhima. And that is the flag of with a deer. That is Nakula. And there is a swan. So that is Sahadev. See this? So with little details like this. And you will find all these things in the story. And there's the flip book version. You can get both the books together. See this? Flip book. Ramayana, Mahabharata. Ramayana, Mahabharata. So one book which contains both the stories are also there. Of course, if you don't want to read this, you can read Ramayana and Mahabharata separately. So there's Ramayana for children, Mahabharata for children. Boys who fought and girl who chose. And this story is very important to learn because you learn about life, you will learn about how do we survive in society, how do you help people who are cruel and rude, how you can be nice, how do you take decisions, how do you give permission. Permission, consent is very important. Who do you give permission to? And why do you fight? And does fighting necessarily mean you should be angry? You can fight without being angry. You can argue without being rude. These are things that the Gita teaches you. There's a little bit of Gita also. You will learn not much, just a little bit, so that you understand how the Gita is. So, I will show you the image of the Gita. Ooh, see this? This is the Gita. The entire Gita. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga in short. And you can draw them. Look at these horses. Wouldn't it be fun to draw? Can you draw these horses? So simple. And that's Arjun, and that's Krishna talking to him. I love drawing animals. This is Bhima and Hidimba, the Rakshasa woman that Bhima marries. Oh, this is Karna on a little basket. These are the 100 Kauravas. See how they're born out of pots. See how many pots there are? And that's little Duryodhana as a baby. And I'll show. Oh, this is Ganesha is also there. Little Ganesha is also there. And everybody has a tattoo. See, Yudhishthira has a Y tattoo. And Arjuna has an A tattoo. Can you see? Sahadev has an S tattoo. Bhima has a B tattoo. And in the Ramayana, of course, people keep saying that show us Hanuman. Everybody loves Hanuman. And I have Hanuman too in my book. There he is. Where is he? Ooh. How does he? There's the Vanars. This is Hanuman's tail. See, Hanuman is eating those fruits. So I kept him invisible a little bit. I don't want people to, because Sita is the most important character. But here's Hanuman. There is Hanuman holding the Sanjeevani mountain. And there are Hanumans over here. The Vanar Sena is over here. And the Rakshasas are over there. So images are there, story is there, lessons are there, culture is there. It is about your heritage. This is Ramayana and Mahabharata. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you read it. Hope you have it in your library. You buy it for your homes, share it with your friends. Ramayana and Mahabharata is part of your culture. You must be proud of it, learn it, share it, and discuss it. And even if you don't agree, it's fine. You don't have to be angry about it. Everybody will have a different view. Some people will like Ravan, some people will like Kumbhakarna, some people will like Ram, some people will like Dashrath, some will like Kaikai, some will like Surpanakha. We can choose whoever we like. We must discuss it without quarreling. That's a very difficult thing to discuss things without quarreling. And that's what these books teach you. When you read the Gita, it will tell you how you can fight for the weak without hating the mighty. The definition of dharma. These things which usually parents find it very difficult to explain. I try to explain it in a very simple language. Read it with your parents, read it with your family, discuss it with your brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, and you will see that India, you learn so much about India and you feel proud to be an Indian. So enjoy it so that you can also realize how amazing Indian culture is. Namaste.